So you're ready to launch a server in the Amazon cloud. You're just a few clicks away, but right at the start, you hit a critical choice. Where is your data actually going to live? And believe me, this decision can be the difference between a system that flies and one that completely crashes and burns. Today, we are breaking down the two main options you've got: Amazon EBS and Instant Store.
And this isn't just some academic debate. This quote right here, it's from a real person, a sysadmin, who had that heart-stopping moment of realizing their company's mail server was built on, well, temporary storage. The fear is palpable, because choosing wrong means if that server hiccups, everything could literally just vanish into thin air. The stakes are incredibly high.
So when you launch what's called an EC2 instance, that's your virtual server, you have to give it a hard drive. But hang on, this isn't just about picking how many gigabytes you need. This choice goes way deeper. It affects your performance, how safe your data is, how flexible you can be later, and of course, the cost. It's one of the most foundational decisions you'll make for your whole setup.
Okay, before we jump into the two contenders, we need to get one term straight: block-level storage. Now, don't let the jargon scare you. All it really means is a digital blank slate. Think of it like a brand new, unformatted hard drive you'd put in your home computer. It's the raw space where you put everything else. Both of the options we're talking about today operate at this really fundamental level.
All right, now let's meet our contenders. In one corner, we have Amazon EBS, which stands for Elastic Block Store. And in the other, we've got the EC2 Instant Store. They both give you that block-level storage we just talked about, but they are built for completely, and I mean completely, different jobs.
Okay, this is the absolute crucial point, so let's use an analogy. Think of EBS as a detachable shipping container. It's its own thing. You can hook it up to your server, but you can also unhook it and attach it to a completely different server later. Your precious data lives safely inside that container, no matter what happens to the truck pulling it. The Instant Store, on the other hand, that's like the built-in trunk of a car. It's physically part of the server hardware itself. Super fast, right there, but it's permanently stuck with that one specific car.
And that core difference, the container versus the trunk, it all leads to the single most important question you have to ask yourself. Is the data I'm storing permanent, or is it temporary? Because one of these options is basically designed to have amnesia, and the other one is designed to remember everything.
Instant store storage is what we call ephemeral, which is just a fancy word for temporary. And when I say temporary, I mean it. As you can see here, if you just stop your server, if you terminate it, or if the physical hardware it's running on has a problem, poof, the data's gone, wiped clean. Now, this is not a bug, it's a feature. It's designed to work this way, and it's so important that you know that going.
Now, in total contrast, you have EBS, which is built from the ground up for persistence. It behaves exactly like the hard drive in your laptop. You can shut down your server, you can replace it, you can upgrade it, and that EBS volume with all your data just sits there patiently waiting to be reattached. Your data lives on and on until you are the one who explicitly decides to delete it.
You know, for a very long time, this choice always felt like a painful trade-off. It was like you had to pick one. Did you want the safety and all the cool features that came with persistent EBS storage, or did you need that raw, blistering, almost untouchable speed you could only get from a drive that was physically bolted to the machine, like an Instant Store?
And the speed of an Instant Store is really no joke. Because that storage is right there, directly attached, the latency is incredibly low. For things like gigantic databases that have to crunch millions of transactions every second, this kind of raw performance was often the only choice that could actually keep up. It was, without a doubt, the undisputed king of speed.
So that was the compromise you had to make for years. But, technology never stands still. What if that classic trade-off isn't so black and white anymore? What if you could have both, the safety and the speed?
In this chart, wow, this chart shows that evolution perfectly. On the left, that's an older generation of high-performance EBS. In the middle, that's our benchmark, the Instant Store, hitting almost 1 million transactions per minute. But just look at that bar on the right. That is the newest generation of EBS, and it is right there. It is so close to the Instant Store's performance. That massive gap has almost completely vanished.
So, with this new reality where the lines are blurred, how do you actually choose? Well, let's get into some real practical guidance so you can match the right tool to the right job. All right, here is a simple little mantra to keep in your head. If the data is critical, if losing it would be a disaster, the answer is EBS. Full stop. No debate. If your only priority is the absolute maximum bleeding-edge speed and you are totally okay with that data disappearing, then the Instant Store is still your champion.
So for most of the things you'd normally build, EBS is the obvious choice. Your main database? Absolutely EBS. Your application servers? EBS. And that mail server from the beginning? Oh yeah, definitely EBS. You also always use EBS for the server's main operating system drive, that's the boot volume, because you kind of want your server to remember who it is when it restarts.
So where does that leave our speed demon, the instant store? Well, it absolutely shines in situations where the data is temporary by its very nature. Think of a cache that helps your website load faster. If it disappears, the system just rebuilds it. No big deal. Or think of a temporary workspace for a massive video rendering job. It's also perfect for data that's already copied somewhere else, so losing one copy isn't a disaster.
And all of this brings us to the bigger picture. The lines between these two very different types of storage are getting fuzzier. And that tells us something really important about where the entire world of cloud architecture is heading. Let's just go back to that performance chart for a second. The key takeaway is this. For even the most intense, demanding workloads, the performance gap between the best EBS and the instant store is now only about 20%. That is a game changer. It means you can get persistent, durable, flexible storage that's almost as fast as temporary local storage. That just wasn't possible a few years ago.
And so this leaves us with a fascinating question to chew on. As network storage just keeps getting faster and faster, will there even be a place for this temporary built-in storage anymore? Or are we slowly moving toward a future where all storage is just fast, durable, and flexible by default? It's a trend that is definitely worth watching.